What's up, builders? So I'm back again for a really quick video. I wanted to mix up some Turbo Dork paint, and I got some of these really handy paint jars. So I figured I'd make a video showing exactly how I go about that. And real quick, I wanted to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the team at Turbo Dork for sending me a bottle of each of their new line of paint. So this video is going to be part of a new series of videos we go through and we test every single bottle that they gave me. And once again, huge thank you and huge shout out. This is going to be episode 1, and we're going to be testing out Hot Commodity. So along with the paint, you're also going to need some Airbrush Flow Improver and some isopropyl alcohol. I use those in a 50-50 ratio, so half Airbrush Flow Improver and half rubbing alcohol. Beginning, the first step is just to pour some Turbo Dork into the jar. Now you want to shake this thing a lot. There's a lot of metal flake in here, a lot of stuff going on in these bottles, and you don't know how long they've been sitting for before you get them, so shake the freaking crap out of them. So from there, you want to add your thinner mix, which like I said before, is half rubbing alcohol and half Airbrush Flow Improver. Now, so my final ratio here is about 50% Turbo Dork, 25% alcohol, and 25% Flow Improver. So if you don't have Flow Improver, you can just use all rubbing alcohol. And if you don't have rubbing alcohol, you can just use all Flow Improver. But basically, you want half thinner, half paint. So here it is after it's nice and shook. And as you can see, it's kind of the consistency of a chocolate milk or like a hot chocolate or even like a whole milk. It's thicker than water, but not like a syrupy consistency. When I use Turbo Dork paint, I like to use white primer. I think it helps to make the colors just pop a lot more. Now, these are color shifting paints, so depending if you use white or black, you're going to get a different color, that's for sure, so keep that in mind. Now, pay attention to my first coat here, because as you'll see, it's not what you would envision for the final car. And the key to Turbo Dork paint is you want to build up a lot of thin layers, so go very slow. The biggest mistake I made with this paint when I first got it was trying to paint a whole car or a whole piece just in one pass. You can't do it. It's impossible. You'll end up with just the piece or the car just covered in thick paint that'll never dry. So you need to build up thin layers because there's so much metal flake in this paint that it will only really adhere a little bit at a time. So my first coat, my point with all that is my first coat, even my second coat, are just going to be dustings. Your first pass won't be finished. It will look very blotchy. So with your second one, come through and start to fill in those blotches more and more. And it's going to take 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 passes. You're going to have to literally put your brush down, walk away. I went and ate dinner. Then I came back and finished this car. And then even after that, I went and sat down and watched an episode of 24, and then came back and did another layer of paint because I kept looking at it underneath the light and seeing spots that were just not covered enough. Now here it is right before the clear coat. So this is 5-6 layers of paint. Thin layers, of course, with breaks in between, letting everything dry. And it came out wonderfully. And what that allowed it to do is for all of that metallic paint to be laid down in those thin layers, and with each passing layer you fill in spots that weren't filled in before, and the spots behind that build up the ones in front of it, and you end up with this beautifully metallic, almost wet looking. It's shiny, it's saturated, this stuff is seriously unlike any other metallic paint I've tried. It's seriously badass. And here it is after the clear coat. I use Pledge clear coat just because it seems to be friendly to acrylic paint, and that just takes it up another level. Now it looks like an actual car finish, super shiny. It really helps the metallic pop and shine even more. And it's just a beautiful paint to work with, beautiful finish, and I cannot recommend it enough. And once again, huge thank you to Turbo Dork. There'll be a lot more videos like this on the way. They won't all be die cast. I have some other stuff lined up like Pokemon models and other little Gundam models like Haros and things like that. So Stay tuned and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.